Alice and I have been best friends since we were little, and she ended up engaged to my brother after they were together for 4 years. Literally the morning of the wedding, she told my brother she had met someone else, my brother's friend, and was leaving my brother. Obviously, I cut her off after that because she's a piece of crap. She was really upset about this, and this was a big deal because we usually talked at least once every single day. 4 months later, she showed up at my door crying and asking me to help her. So I let her in and asked if she was okay. And she said her new boyfriend, the guy she left my brother for, is emotionally abusive, constantly putting her down, screaming if she does anything he doesn't like, telling people stuff she told him in confidence, etc. She said she was scared of him and asked if I could help her. She said he was tracking her location secretly and forbidding her from talking to her friends or family, and he was probably going to yell at her for going to my apartment if she went back home. I said it was not my problem, especially after what she did to my brother. I told her to leave and not come back and deal with it herself. The whole encounter lasted maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I told some people about what happened, and they all said I was an idiot because she's my ex-best friend, and she's being abused. She's called me like 5 times since this happened last week. I don't know if she's asking for help or what because I don't pick up. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Why didn't she go to her family or friend's house? She was already going to get in trouble for being at your house. Why would she go back to his house after coming to your apartment if she was looking for help to get away? It's also not your problem. She was a big enough girl to walk away from your brother on their wedding day. I'm sure she can find a way to walk away from this abusive relationship. I don't see how she was asking for help either. It sounds like she just wanted someone to vent to. The fact that she didn't pick her friends or family probably shows that they've heard it all before, have tried to help her, and she doesn't go through with leaving. OP was her first friend not long ago, and considering how controlling her new boyfriend is, he's probably actively trying to isolate her from her family and friends. I mean, he's tracking her. It's a typical abusive tactic. OP might legitimately be the only person she felt she could dare to go to. Also, leaving abusive situations is often more challenging than just walking away. I think it's an everyone's the idiot here situation. It's really gross how many people here keep saying that deciding not to marry someone means that they deserve to be abused by a new partner. Should being a crappy partner to the brother potentially cost the woman her life? The victim blaming is revolting. It's not that. She cheated on OP's brother, which destroyed their friendship. She's a stranger now, not a friend, not someone involved in OP's life. Why should OP be singled out to disrupt their lives to help a stranger? Tell them to go to a police or shelter. OP, she knew if she left your brother, she would even lose you and many other things. She is a grown woman and made a decision, a stupid one, in fact. However, there may be something more here, and if she keeps calling you, you might want to help her at least minimally. Maybe you can provide advice, at least, and then reach out to someone else to help her. The only idiot here so far is the guy tracking her. A part of me thinks this is her way of trying to weasel back into your brother's life by playing the victim, but there is no proof of that, just my own pessimism. So just to be safe, contact her parents and go from there. She may not be your friend anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't help her, or at the very least try to verify her story. I, female 27, started seeing my boyfriend, 31, 8 months ago. He comes from a well-off family and he met my parents a while ago and got along well, but he didn't eat well at dinner and said he was sick. So they invited him over for the second time this past week. Everything went well till we arrived. He stopped the car, turned it off, then pulled a bag from under his seat. I asked about it and he opened it and revealed utensils, fork, knife, napkin, set of spoons. I asked why he brought them, and he said he wanted to use them for dinner. I was baffled. I said, "For dinner? At my parents' table?" He nodded, and I told him this wasn't acceptable. In fact, this was distasteful, and I won't let him do this. He got upset and said I should chill. This stuff is expensive and is a good brand, and claimed my parents wouldn't overreact like I did and wouldn't say anything. I said, no, this is so insulting, and I wouldn't allow him to enter my parents' house, much less put these utensils at their table. I asked him if he thought my family was unhygienic, and he said no. He said we would be late, but I insisted he couldn't have dinner with us like that. He said he wouldn't enter the house then. I said fine, got out of the car and went inside the house. He texted me, saying I was being dramatic for no reason and pressured me to let him come in and bring the utensils with him. But I refused. He said he'd tell my parents, but I didn't reply. Eventually, he left and went to the hotel and waited till I returned. Then he went off, saying I stopped him from having dinner with my parents for a petty reason. I said he could have had dinner if he had left his utensils in the car. He said it's all on me. I wasted his time on this trip and ruined the visit. Am I the idiot for not letting him bring them? Not the idiot. Bringing your own utensils to someone else's home is entirely disrespectful. You brought up him not eating well at dinner last time. The only possible explanation I could think of for bringing your own utensils would be that your parents' utensils were dirty at the last dinner, but he said he didn't think your parents were unhygienic. Not accusing your parents of not cleaning properly, just trying to make some sense out of this. So he brought his own expensive utensils so he didn't have to eat off your parents' cheap cutlery? Unless he's a germaphobe, that's just some next level entitlement. He could have OCD or sensory issues. If that was the case, he should have explained that long before the dinner and worked together with you on finding a solution acceptable to everyone, not just sprung a bunch of cutlery on you right before you go in for dinner. Everyone's the idiot here. Your boyfriend was acting childish from beginning to end. However, I don't see how this is a big deal to argue over. Yeah, it was a strange request, but not something to make a big deal over. As you said, your boyfriend and your parents just met, and your boyfriend came from a wealthy family. So if that's his normal practice or something like that, I don't see anything wrong with that. OP is not the idiot. He couldn't even explain why using those personal utensils was important to him. Does he take his cutlery to restaurants? Because unless he takes his own cutlery everywhere, that is super insulting to your family, OP. He chose a fork over his girlfriend. Ditch him. I, 36 female, have always wanted to be a police officer. I graduated from college with my associates and applied to be a state trooper. Some of the tests were difficult, and I was worried I might not pass. I did graduate from the academy and now work full-time as an officer. I have a daughter, young child, with my partner, 36 male. My sister, 38, was not supportive of my career choice and still voices against it. My sister and her partner, 39 male, got married last year. Her boyfriend, Jack, is pleasant to the rest of the family, except me. Jack and my sister would not come over during the holidays when they first got together. I could tell it was painful for him to talk to me, and I kept my distance. Jack was kicked out of his house when he turned 18 and had to live on the streets. I always help the homeless however I can. I've helped homeless families find shelter and give them food, blankets, and clothing. I never knew why Jack hated me until the weekend of my daughter's birthday. I worked the night shift and got the whole house ready for the party. Jack came over and didn't say anything to me. He spent most of the party glaring at me and walking away whenever I got close to him. I finally had enough and pulled him aside, asking what his problem was. He tells me that he hates that I'm a police officer. Officers would always cause trouble for him when he was homeless. He then tells me that things would be fine if I quit my job. I tell him no, this is not his decision to make. My sister storms over and scoffs, saying I can't believe you would choose a job over family. As of now, we are no longer sisters. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. But what? He seriously asked, no, demanded you quit your job to make him feel more comfortable? Are they paying your bills? Are they going to pay your bills if you quit? I don't think so. Your sister's been looking for an excuse to make an ultimatum. Don't fall for it. Cut her off for a while. Let her stew in her own stupidity. Does my career hurt your feelings? Okay, I'll quit as soon as you start paying my salary and paying my benefits that extend to my family. Oh, you can't do that? Then it appears your opinion of my career is not worth my time. Good day, sir. The dude needs to work on his issues. If I were you, I'd go very low contact with them. What does he think would happen if you didn't take the job? It's not like the police will stop existing. Someone else would take it. Not like you'll become a bad person either. You're the same, good or bad, whether or not you take the job. If he can't look you in the eyes because you're a police officer, Even if you're a good person, he's got some issues he needs to deal with. All right, I'll do it. I'll be the monster. OP, you are the idiot for that job being a police officer. You think you help the world, but you don't. You are here to protect property in the state's interest, not to help protect people like Jack. I wouldn't be surprised to hear Jack is the victim of police violence. If you really want to help people, please reconsider your profession. Let's think this through. You want to convince everyone you cannot be a police officer because they cause violence, etc. I get it. In the best case scenario, you'll convince many decent or empathetic people who care about their communities to quit their job. Do you know who's left over? All the power-hungry idiots who don't care about the community. When I was a teen, my mother died giving birth to my now 20-year-old sister, Elise. My father blamed Elle and started excessively drinking. So I basically became the main caretaker of my 3 siblings. My aunt and a few family friends were able to help out, but the most they could do was bring us groceries and handle inheritance. For the next 4 years, I paid a babysitter when I was at school and took care of my siblings for the rest of the day. When I graduated high school, I decided against college and immediately took up a part-time job. My dad was almost never in the picture. He fell into a heavy depression. I knew he wanted to be involved. I tried to help him as much as possible, but it hurt to watch. When Elise was around a year old, she started learning to talk and started nonstop calling me Dada. It broke my heart in so many ways. I tried to get her to stop at first, but eventually I stopped. I reasoned that if she saw me as her dad, then I was doing something right. When I was 19, my dad overheard me helping Elise with her reading, and she called me Dad. He blew up on both of us, that I was trying to take his place, and that she didn't deserve to be a part of this family after she killed her mom. So I decided right then and there, I was done trying with him, and used my inheritance and my aunt's help to move my siblings and me out into a small apartment. It was so sudden, I guess it snapped him into reality. It's been over a decade since then, and he's now gotten sober. A few years ago, he decided he wanted to form a bond with Elise. She was hesitant, but agreed. Elise is now engaged and is in the middle of planning her wedding. We've always been very close, so I knew I'd at least give a speech. But when she approached me to ask if I'd be the one to walk her down the aisle, I was overjoyed. I was at a planning dinner last night when I joked that I'd need a nicer suit now that I'd be on the aisle. Everyone laughed, but my dad just looked confused. He asked what I meant, when Elise cut in and explained that she wanted me to walk her down the aisle since it felt right, because I always walked her to school every day her entire life. Aunt and my other siblings thought it was sweet, but my dad and grandma pulled me aside later to tell me that they understood where Elise was coming from. They didn't blame her, but I should have rejected the offer because it's traditionally a fatherly role, and I know how hard my dad has been working to be a good father to Elise. I told them I'd think about it. A few days have passed, and my grandma and some family friends have called me every day, telling me I'd be the idiot to take this away from my dad. Not the idiot. If Elise wanted your dad to walk her down the aisle, she would have asked him, but she didn't. If they bring up the tradition, point out that traditionally when a child's mother dies, the father steps up and continues to parent instead of passing on the responsibility to the oldest kid. You spent a huge majority of your life filling the paternal role for your siblings, and it's only fair that you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor now by participating in the joyful parts of being a dedicated parent. Exactly. This isn't about your dad, and this isn't something he's entitled to just because he contributed half of her genetic material. She asked you. She asked you because you were her father figure for her entire life, and this is something special she wants to share with you. This is for Elise to decide. She has decided, and she wants you. But if you feel that your dad's change of heart or behavior is sincere and sustained over time, you might suggest to Elise that you both walk her together, one on each side. I would understand if you do not do that, and even if you did, I would understand if she said no. Oh, where were Grandma and these family friends when Dad was living at the bottom of the bottle while you raised your sister? It is your sister's day and her decision. She chose you, and you should honor her wishes. It's not on you to help whitewash your father's bad parenting or his emotional abuse after your mom died. Getting a woman pregnant doesn't make you a father. Raising a child makes you a father, and you did just that. You raised your little sister when you yourself was just a child. Tell your father and grandmother that he dropped the ball and it isn't yours or Elisa's fault, and your father chose the bottle over his kids. These are the consequences of his own actions. My sister has a lot of health issues and is on disability, and recently my brother-in-law had a heart attack, making neither of them in a state to take care of my niece, Tween. They asked us to take her for 3 months while they recovered, and we agreed. However, the problem is our house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. We have 2 children, teen female, tween male, and they each have a room, and my husband and I have the master bedroom. Our bathroom is attached to our master suite, and my children share a bathroom. We also have a basement with a 1-bedroom and a small entertainment area. My husband uses it as his man cave mostly, and no one goes down there. My husband wants our daughter to share her room, but she doesn't want to, and I think a teenager and a tween won't get along. So then he wanted to put up curtains in the living room for her, but then no one could hang around in the living room, and it'll be hard to have guests. Not to mention, it isn't as comfortable as having an actual room. I want to put her in our spare bedroom in the basement, but my husband doesn't want anyone in his space. Then he argued my niece should go to my brother, who definitely has more room, but they live out of state. I told him it would just be for 3 months, but he's against letting her stay there because it's his space. We argued about this for days before my niece arrived, and against my husband's wishes, showed her to the basement room in his man cave. Of course, the bedroom still has a door, so we can play video games and pool down there, but he can't do it after 9 p.m. now since my niece will hear him and she needs to sleep. He is furious and won't talk to my niece or me and picks up extra work to avoid us, saying, well, I have nowhere to be in my own house. Not the idiot. Your husband has some real problems here. First, it's only for 3 months. Second, do you have a private woman cave? Didn't think so. Having a man cave is a privilege, not something he's owed or must have. He can give it up for 3 months. It's funny that he's against her being in his space and then insists on her either staying in the daughter's room or in the living room. It seems that he's okay with her being in other people's space as long as it isn't his. A man cave isn't essential like an office, so her staying in the man cave is the most practical option. It's understandable not to want people in your space, but considering everything that the niece is going through, she should be allowed to have private space. He should care more about doing what would make her comfortable when both of her parents are having health issues. The daughter should give up her only private room, but he, who has the whole house, can't give up his second bedroom? It's not like it's his home office or anything. And even if it was, unless he 100% works from home, he could still give that room up. He can use the living room just like anyone else. What a bully. Goddamn, I hate man caves. Where's your private space? Why does he get one and you don't? If you can live without one all the time, he can give it up for 3 months. I'm sure his trauma from this will be great. Maybe the little niece can teach him how to process loss and change. OP, what do you see in such a selfish human? He's being mean to a child who's been forced from her home because her parents are too ill to care for her. That's disgusting and shameful behavior.